You know how you're constantly bombarded with financial advice, right? Buy assets, start a business, make your money work for you. It's everywhere. But for most of us, the reality feels, well, a lot different. There's debt, there are bills, and if we're being honest, there's this nagging fear of not even knowing where to begin. If that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. In fact, that exact feeling is what we're going to tackle right now.
And this quote right here gets to the absolute heart of the problem. That feeling of paralysis you get when you think about your finances, that's not just some little side effect of the problem. No, that feeling is the problem. It's the wall. And once you realize that, it completely reframes everything. It's not about the money in your bank account, not yet anyway. It's about the battle happening inside your own head.
So, let's talk about that wall. What's it actually made of? Well, here's the big twist from our source material. The bricks aren't made of debt or low income or any of that stuff. They're made of something else entirely.
And here it is. The real barrier, the thing truly holding you back, isn't a lack of cash. All those things we worry about, like debt or the fear of investing, turns out those are just the symptoms. The actual disease, the real wall, is a set of internal mental roadblocks that stop us cold before we ever get started.
But here's the incredibly empowering part. If the problem is in our minds, then guess what? So is the solution. And that brings us to the single most important concept for unlocking your financial potential.
According to Robert Kiyosaki, your mind isn't just a tool. It is the single most powerful asset you will ever own. Seriously, think about it like a financial muscle. If you train it well, teach it to spot opportunities, it can generate enormous wealth. But if you leave it untrained, that exact same muscle can do the opposite and rack up a mountain of debt.
You have to get this sequence right. It is an inside game. You've got to win the battle on the internal battlefield, in your mind, before you can ever hope to win it in your bank account. Your mindset isn't just a helpful bonus. It's the absolute non-negotiable prerequisite for success.
So, if we're fighting a battle in our minds, we need to know who the enemy is, right? Kiyosaki points to 5 primary saboteurs. These are the mental obstacles that keep even really smart people from building any real wealth.
All right, here they are: fear, cynicism, laziness, bad habits, and arrogance. Now, be honest, I'm willing to bet at least one of those sounds familiar. Let's break down how each one wages war on your wealth. The first, and honestly the biggest enemy, is fear. Specifically, the fear of losing money. Here's the thing, everyone feels it. Rich people, poor people, everyone. The only difference is how they react to it. For most, that fear is paralyzing, so they just stay on the sidelines forever. But for the wealthy, a loss is never just a loss. It's tuition. It's a fee you pay to get smarter. They see failure as an opportunity to learn, not as a sign to quit. Next up is enemy number 2, cynicism. And cynicism is really just fear wearing a smart guy mask. It's that little voice in your head that instantly shoots down any new idea, listing all the reasons something will never work. But just look at the contrast here. A cynic's mind is full of what-ifs that lead to inaction. An investor's mind is full of how could-Is that lead to possibilities. Cynicism is a closed door. Curiosity is a wide-open one.
Okay, let's power through the final 3 because they often work as a team. Third is laziness, but it almost never looks like what you think. It disguises itself as being too busy. You're too busy with work to learn about money, too busy with life to focus on your finances. The cure, interestingly, is a little bit of greed, a real, powerful desire for something better for yourself. Fourth, we have bad habits. Our entire lives are basically the sum of our habits, and our finances are no exception. A terrible habit is paying all your bills and then seeing if there's anything left for you. The wealth-building habit is the total opposite. You pay yourself first, you invest first, and then you figure out the bills. And finally, enemy number 5, arrogance. This is a toxic cocktail of ego mixed with ignorance. It's when you pretend to know it all just to protect your pride. In the world of money, what you don't know absolutely can and will hurt you, and arrogance is the very thing that stops you from learning.
Okay, so we've named the enemies. Now it's time to actually fight back. Let's switch from theory to action with a super simple audit you could literally do in the next 2 minutes. Now, you might be thinking, okay, Is this just a bunch of motivational fluff without a real strategy? And that's a perfectly fair question. The answer is no. This isn't a replacement for strategy. This is the mental foundation that makes any strategy possible. Think about it. You can have the best financial blueprint in the world, but it's totally useless if you're too afraid to buy the materials or too arrogant to even read the instructions.
So here's the tool. It's the solution audit. It's just 3 simple steps. First, identify. Look at that list of 5 and be brutally honest with yourself. Which one is your number 1 obstacle? Is it fear, a bad habit? Second, find the cause. Ask yourself why. Why does that thing have such a hold on you? Dig a little. And third, and this is the real game changer, define a tiny step. What is one small, totally non-scary action you can take this week? If it's fear, maybe your step is just to open a brokerage account. You don't even have to put money in it yet. If it's arrogance, maybe you just buy 1 book on a topic you know nothing about. See, this is how you turn that giant, scary monster into a small, manageable pest.
Ultimately, your financial future isn't going to be decided by the stock market or the economy. It's going to be decided by what happens in the space between your ears. Conquering these inner enemies is the key that unlocks everything else. And that brings us to the only thing that really matters now, making this real for you.
So, it all comes down to this. We've talked about the obstacles, we've talked about the audit, you have the framework. The only question left is the one you see right here. What is the one small step you are going to take this week to start conquering your biggest obstacle? Answering that question for yourself, well, that's how this explainer goes from being just information to a real-world plan for you.